Hello everyone, it's Riley Cook from Toronto Luxury Condos and Homes, and I've got a very special video for you today. I'm with Alan, the owner of wstudio, and they provide luxury hand-woven carpets. Alan, what makes you guys stand out from all the different carpet providers in Toronto and around the world?
You're right, there's so many carpet stores, especially online nowadays, but what sets us apart is the uniqueness of our design. We come up with the concept, choose colors onto designs that I think haven't been seen before, and we haven't made exclusively for us.
Right.
So we started our production from Nepal back in late 90s, and it's about 25 years that I've been in the rug designing and producing. And so beside our exclusive design is our understanding the project. It's not just about the rug. The rug has to be the right fit for the rest of the elements of the room, being the architecture, the scale, the furniture layout. And our expertise is something to hear what our clients and our designers like, and come back with recipes, come back with options that fits their issues. You know, hopefully we can find the carpet that it ties everything together.
Yes.
So it's a combination of uniqueness of design and understanding the service that we provide, educating our customers. That's also another thing.
Yes.
In most cases, rugs have never been seen before, so it's very hard for them to really create that sort of a like in one thing at one time. And it's us understanding, really educating them how the process is, and our custom capability. That's also another thing. So either we have the rug in stock, we can even modify the carpet based on the size, and if we don't have it, we'll design one. So it's basically, why buy a carpet anywhere else?
Exactly. Well, let's go take a look at some of them.
Okay, let me show you around. It's a long story. It was January of '89 that I got introduced to the rug business, and I started working as this rug company as a salesperson. And immediately I sort of fell in love with this business. The uniqueness, the variety of designs, colors, the energy that it would add to the room. So I got hooked right from the early stages of my life. And about a couple of years later, I went on my own. So now, going back, I guess, 35, 36 years, I've been doing this almost 6-7 days a week. And I love every second of it. Of course, it has ups and downs and all that. But one thing that really got me hooked to this business is the joy and happiness that we bring to our customers' lives. Not just for one day, one night. This is long-standing, like this is a lifetime commitment. I was doing this for the first 10 years, mostly on the Persian rugs. But it was the beginning of '98 that I realized, you know, that I got to do different things. You know, it was just getting too common, selling the same Persian rugs, you know, over and over. And there were limitations of production. You know, as you know, most of them have a center medallion, so it's hard to decorate around it, or you would not be able to get the right size. So I went to Nepal. Back then, nobody was doing modern and contemporary carpets, so I started sketching some lines and choosing yarns. Nowadays, we have the advantage of email, WhatsApp, and video call, but back then, there wasn't much. I had to travel all the way to Kathmandu, to be exact, actually. It was actually quite nice to see the different cultures, different behind the scene, and really see how long and how hard it is to complete one rug. And yeah, so that's how I got hooked, and where I am here right now. Nepal is the only country that has border to Tibet, so the Tibetan wool being the most expensive and most luxurious wool you can get. As you may know, the cashmere and pashmina comes from only Tibetan sheep. I would like to show you how the process is done. Let me show you the more details and behind the scene. Well, this is the beginning. This is where this is about 1,200 color palms that every color our weaving house has the same box, so we can choose the right tone and having exactly match the same color. And behind me, we've done a little video that shows the process. As I mentioned about the Tibetan wool, not only they're the longest hair you can get, they have the oiliest, highest count of lanolin oil in them. And we only use the old traditional brushing by hand, which is called carding, and sort of spinning the yarn by hand. So this is a part of the brushing, the very first part that they're preparing the rug, that's called carding. All the yarn is twisted and spun by hand. This technique, it makes the carpet last forever, and they don't shed because they're long hair. And the second process is dyeing it based on the palms that I mentioned to you. Every shade has to be boiled for a certain amount to really get that accurate tone. So the dyeing process might take about at least a week or two minimum. The second stage is basically sort of drying the yarn. All our design is drawn on computer. Each knot represents one box. And the uniqueness of this process, just like we can create one carpet for each individual client. Actually, a few times we have woven the actual monogram of the first initials of the client's name onto the rug. And after months of weaving, this is the last part that they're doing the clipping. From the beginning to end, it would take about 4 to 5 months, sometimes 6 months if it's a huge rug. One day of the production is about 2 inches progress. So depending on the width of the loom, we can put more people. On the average 8 foot wide, 8 by 10 rug, which is done on 8 foot wide. It does have 3 people sit next to each other. And the last part about the washing and stretching, this is how it's done. And that's the last part that they are shipped. Actually all of our carpets are shipped by air because of the timing, so it doesn't take months on the ocean. And the next step would be delivering the carpet to our client's home. Good question, because not many people know how the process starts. As you can see, and these are the rendering that we come up with first, choosing the yarn based on our yarn box and the colors. And we show this to our clients for the final approval before we have the carpets made. Many times we do one design in 2 or 3 different colorways to really understand what the clients like or preferences are. And then from then on, we'll have it made. We send these orders to Nepal, and they get the ball rolling. It's very time consuming, not only from the dyeing part of the yarn, and then the actual weaving. They have to weave the carpet simultaneously, like dot by dot, row by row. One person cannot go higher, just have to be woven at the same time. It's a dyeing art, so it's artisanal, and as the countries are getting more developed or industrialized, you won't see people sitting on the loom and doing only 2 inches of one-day work progress. So keeping that dyeing art alive, that's also another fundamental part that really we are hoping that they will be tomorrow's heirloom. Maybe in about 20 years, I would say, I don't think anybody would be making carpets by hand. So that's the sad part, but we are in this golden period that we can have each individual carpet made specifically for you. Although it costs a lot of money, the whole process, but it's money well spent because it's not just one time. You have this forever rug as part of your possessions. When China took over Tibet back in the early 50s, so a lot of Tibetan refugees moved to Nepal and then northern part of India. So the technique that we use is a Tibetan weave technique, which is a bit different than the other type of weave. There are maybe 18, 20 different type of weave in our industry. They brought their crafts with them to Nepal, and so they started making rugs. Actually, it started from the refugee camps that they were making rugs. That's how the Tibetan weave or Tibetan wool, they brought that into Nepal. Nepal doesn't have a rug history. So the rug history production in Nepal started maybe about 70 years ago, maybe late 1950s or early 60s. That's how the carpet industry sort of flourished in Nepal. Tibetan weave, which is very unique to its own, there are 2 advantages of Tibetan weave technique. One, the actual plane, if you look at the close-up, you have the striation of the actual weave, because when they do one row, they cut right over it, so each forms a little different texture, which is very important. It's not too flat. And the second best part is we can use different rod thickness to elevate or lower the pile. It makes it more like a 3D. So many times we do the silk in the higher tone and then wool in the lower, so you have that more tactile, so it's not that flat. So it's a combination of Tibetan weave, the Tibetan people. Actually, that's one thing that I have to say. Tibetan people are the kindest, nicest, most honorable people I've ever met in our industry. Their trust, especially for us when we have our own design, that is extremely important. I have developed relationship with them, but in their culture, they believe in karma. So they would never ever sold my carpet to anyone else. Sometimes you don't know, you order come from Canada, but you could sell it to someone else. That has had never ever happened with our Tibetan partners. The kindness, the trust, we're almost like family. Like actually, most of the weaving house that I have, they were actually from the first beginning, like 25 years ago, 27 years ago. And we keep pushing the whole envelope. You know, we started with the 60 knots per square inch. And then we went to 100 knots. We went to wool, obviously silk and wool. Nowadays we produce either 100% silk or 70% silk. So, and sometimes actually one of our carpets that I have that I'll show you is the ombre effect that has over 50 different shades of one color. I don't think anybody in our industry can really create pots and dye lots of 50 different just to create one carpet. Nobody is, even if they can, they don't want to because it's such a tedious issue, you know.
Can you show me one of those?
Of course, it's right actually one of the navy blue one. That's right there. Actually, that's one of the carpets. I'm gonna take you right there. Yeah. This one here, the darkest part is where the darkest color is, and as you can see, every almost centimeter, there's a different shades color right through it. And if you do from the center onwards, there's like many, like it's easily over 50 different shades. And then dyeing it is one thing, but the more even difficult that I want tying the right dots on the right spot. And I'd like to show you the back of the rug that I was mentioning to you. Each dot represents one knot on a sort of a graph. And if I go more, you can see from the back, you can see all the different shades much more clearer. Yeah.
Incredible.
Yes, and also another thing that because we do produce our own rug in majority of the rug weaving factories, actually the reason I went to producing our own because uniqueness and quality is one thing, but as a manufacturer, the only way, as a rug manufacturer, the only way you can keep the price down or lower is by using a cheaper material and cheaper labor. And one of the ways that you can speed up the process, we are in the warp and weft structure like a fabric. The vertical lines are warp and then the horizontal lines are weft. And warp and weft in textiles should be the same thickness. But since it's hidden in the rug, it's hidden between the rows, everybody use twice as thick or 3 times as thick to finish the carpet faster. So they can speed up, instead of taking 4, 5 months, 6 months on the loom, they can do it in 2 or 3 months. The only way you can tell how good that is just by folding the carpet in your hand. So they fold and bend like fabric and textile. On a lower quality carpet or a cheaper carpet, you won't be able to do this. I can even upholster a chair with this rug, which is unheard of, and the rugs are very stiff the majority of the time. So that's also another reason that we keep, in the story of this navy blue one, I can do this in any color, you know, like from the black, I can do it to gray, to a dark green, to a lighter green. And that's what the excitement part is, you know. Sometimes when I do the design, I sometimes think, okay, my partners back in Nepal, they're gonna freak out and they're gonna say, Alan, stop, you know, like you're really like too much, you know. But luckily they haven't said anything. And yeah, that's a exciting part about our business, is just like bringing unique designs. At the same time, once you put this right rug for each room, it's very rewarding. You know, I've had many clients that when they bought the carpets, and one example, there was a young couple that they were looking at the rug, and when the husband said, okay, honey, she jumped off almost 2 feet off the ground. And that feeling, that fuzzy feeling that we get out of this, witnessing this, is sort of a priceless, like MasterCard, you know. Yeah, so it's exciting business, and we are not for everyone, you know. We are actually, because of the cost of the rugs keeps rising, and especially our Canadian dollars is not doing that well, and we buy everything in US dollars. So on average, every 3, 4, 5 months, I will get a Dear Alan email that the cost has gone up, materials has gone more expensive, labor has become more expensive, on top of it, the shipping has become more expensive. Like, this is something, but on the other hand, we look at it that this is an art for the fifth wall. And our latest tagline is love what you walk on. So it's not so much how much the carpet is. So the price is actually doesn't make a better carpet or a right carpet. Sometimes we see a room that a bit more like a rustic carpet in lower notcam would be more appropriate. So that's the interaction that we need to know as much information from our clients. Most of our business is through interior designers and architects. The best part about that section of our business, they come with floor plan, with renderings, with design and color direction, and we start sort of exchange ideas. And many times I come up with something that they may not have even thought about that it could work, because that one piece that completes the look is the most important part of our business, like almost like a last piece of jigsaw puzzle. You have elements of scale, elements of color, element of texture, element of design period, both architecturally, and the decor, and lifestyles, how many children, pets. Oh, there's a lot, so much to cover. After 36 years in this rug business, I still like coming into work. It's not boring. Every project is new thing. It's something that's never been done before. And so it's my job is sort of almost like solving this puzzle. One thing that I can't stress enough is the importance of quality and material. Nowadays, there's so many different manufacturing that they've done in polypropylene, oil byproduct. They're not that healthy for you to breathe in and out. And so the beauty of the wool and silk, they're natural fibers. They would not have any off gases, no chemical reactions. So especially if you have children, and more so for their nursery or for the kid baby's room. Nowadays, nobody wants to spend the money. They think the children are going to ruin it, but actually that's the most important part, that you want to either don't buy any rug, or if you do it, make sure there's pure wool and silk, no glue and no synthetics. Nowadays, there are companies like Ruggable, it have nice colors and design, but it's printed on polypropylene. It's becoming very popular, but it breaks my heart because it doesn't have the hand. It looks nice, and but you don't have the actual touch, and the smell is something that you want to stay away from. We're becoming more conscious about what we eat. We are all overexposed with so much chemical on a daily life. So the best thing is just to, when you go home, just go as natural as possible. One other advice that I have for our clients is to think about it as a long term, think about it as an art on the floor. If it gives you that warm and fuzzy feeling that every time you walk by the room or when you come into the room, that's where the most important part is. If it doesn't give you that thing, even $1 is too much. Besides our contemporary collection, which we have hundreds, if not thousands of design, we have another collection which not many people know about. Is our more like a classic transitional, and this is a good pile that I'd like to show you about. And these are the remake of Ushak designs that was done in, let's say, 100 years ago. They are our own interpretation of the designs, but in the more contemporary colors. And because they are stylized designs, so they lend itself to not only more of a transition, but also gives you can put these rugs with a more modern or contemporary furnishing as well. They're not as ornate or traditional as those sort of Persian designs, so they do have that sort of a feel. Like the carpet next one is more on that classic, more of a city design that has more of a details. But again, the colors are being redone to the colors that is easier on our eyes. And this is what makes a difference. Color has a lot of effect. Like the very few ones we were looking at more of a lighter tones, more of a lighter colors, but this one is a lot much richer. So it makes the carpet a bit more masculine. Therefore, it's for more masculine rooms. So the idea of this one is sort of a understated elegance. So they do give you a bit of the history, but at the same time they are sort of a casual. They're not too fussy or too ornate. The uniqueness about this particular rug is a Kerman carpet from 1960s that we shore and shear the rug down almost to bare minimum. So this would makes it more like a what do you call it? Like almost tapestry-like. And look at the back of the carpet, how fine the rugs are. they were made. Look at this, going back to one dot. You see that pink one is only one knot. This rug, it has a silk and wool as a high-low effect, like the two tones of the, maybe three colors in silk, and the base is wool. So that has that 3D as we talked about. And the silk part, when you have a silk and wool combination, silk does have reflective nature to it, so it becomes a lot more shinier, especially at night when there's no light coming from the outside. It has this sort of reflective. And one thing actually I like to mention is every rug, every hand-woven carpet has a light side and dark side because of the beginning and end of the rug. So if you look at this carpet from this side, everything becomes much lighter and shinier. And if you walk over to the other direction, opposite from me, you will be looking into the pile, like against the grain. So you lose the sheen, but the colors becomes much stronger. You see? So there is a nap, like almost to the rug. So this is against the nap, and this is with the nap. So in most cases, when we have a silk rug, we want to walk into the room. It's at the point of entry that you see the rug and the room together. So in most cases, we lay the light side because of the silk to show. I was looking at some of the carpets in Persian collection of Mack Museum in Austria, in Vienna. And I saw the original carpet of this one was like a 16th century or 17th century rug. Original rug had the red, but the red more of a burgundy red. And instead of a navy, was more like a dark green. I fell in love with the uniqueness of design because there's some sort of a peacock and they're multi-medallion. I took the design and we changed the color, like from the burgundy red, we took it more of a rusty red, which is easier on the eye. And instead of the green, not to make it Christmas looking, we changed it to navy. So again, this is one of my favorite rugs that it has that sort of a few 100-year-old history of the design. Very, very unique that I haven't seen before, but again, recolored, like putting that sea foam, the accent colors. And when I was mentioning about the peacocks, actually they're the symbol of the peacock of that design that I saw. We made this in Pakistan using Afghani mountain sheep wool. And after the wash, we wash the carpet a few times and brings the oil to the surface. So it almost gives us something like a silky look. We have few different sort of type of clients. One is before the event construction starts, before they move, they walk through just to get an idea. The second type of clients that we have, that are in the midst of construction, or sometimes the clients, they cannot make any decision on carpets, so they wait for everything to be delivered, and then it's our job. My suggestion is at least give 6 to 8 months prior moving date or completion date of renovation. So that way we can start the design direction, especially if we have enough time to make the right carpet. Shape of the rug is very important, especially with the layout of the room, shape of the room, and the shape of furniture. Nowadays, there's that sort of a kidney curvilinear furnishing has become very popular. So something a bit more organic, either both in shape or design, would look really nice for the space. So as I said, there are many different elements, but sooner rather than later. Sometimes people, they leave it too late. By then, they get out of budget, they have no more money left. So it's better to sort of start and having enough fund for the rugs. Unfortunately, most people don't think about the importance of the rugs. It's almost like a back burner. And so it's good to really sort of have a different mindset. It's just not, you could always get a broadloom, put a binded, or we can do, but that's not the same. It doesn't have soul. It doesn't have personality. It doesn't have life. Because if they're synthetics, there's no life force whatsoever. And if it's sort of machine made, there's almost no artistry is there. So almost like a piece of sort of like non-life. Our rugs should bring life and joy to the room. The way we do our production in Nepal, because of a tighter density or higher knots per inch, it's good to our clients that to have about between $100 a square foot to $200 a square foot because of material. So if they budget that thing, let's say if it's an 8 by 10, which is 80 square feet, between 8 to 12,000, sometimes 8 to 16,000. That could be the range. And we charge by square foot in a way. If it's an 8 by 10, let's say it's 10,000. The 9 by 12 is 13,500. And we make things actually pretty straightforward. In the traditional rug world, every rug has their own story, every rug has its own price point. But for us, since we are the first-hand manufacturer, and that's the advantage, it doesn't go through different levels of production. Before, when I used to buy carpets for my use, not the one that I produce, I would pay at least somewhere 50 to 70% more than the actual cost, because from the weaving house to distributor to wholesaler, and wholesaler to retailer that we were part of. So the advantages on this one, I bypass all those, and that's a reason that could help me to become successful and stay in the business, because our cost is international cost, and there's not many middlemen. So let's say, for instance, you ask about the price point. For our 70% Tibetan wool, which we charge, let's say $150 a square foot, that minimum in the industry should be about $200, $220 a square foot. But since we are the first hand, so there's not much cost, it becomes much more easier to digest. And also, by showing the carpets to our clients, I look at their eyes, if the eyes lit up or not. If your eyes scroll over, that means no, I'm on the wrong path. Something that you like is one thing, but the room will tell. And that's why many times if the customers, they haven't been able to make decision on them, and if the room is ready, all they have to do is just send me the picture of the space with close-up of the floor, which acts as a frame to the rug. Furnishing, fireplace image, kitchen, and most of all, the art. I need a photograph of the art, because through the art, I can get a sense of their soul and personality. And once I see these ones, and I would say, if it was my room, what would I do? So I would come up with a sort of a carpet with not much design, like sometimes it's plain as a rug, but more textured. I come up with a bit more of a transitional design. I come up with more contemporary or classic. And sometimes I throw a curveball, something that they would not, as I said, like you would not even think in a million years, but that could be something that really make that statement. We listen, we hear what our clients, our designers say. This is a process of narrowing things down. And then it's much easier, the way of that sort of a concierge service that we provide. Our designers and our customers could simply just send us their wish list, talking about the size of the room, extremely about having measurements of the space. Furniture layout is extremely important. Sometimes two sofas and a sofa loft seat and a sectional would take a different shape of a rug. Budget range is extremely important. If you say, let's say, I have a $5,000, $10,000 range, we wouldn't show you something like 30 or 40,000. That's way off. But if someone falls in love with a rug that is 5,000 or 7,000, it's almost the same category. And once we show the options into more curated, saying like this is the 4 or 5 options that could, all of them would work in the space. It makes the whole process a lot more positive. You don't have to build up all those negative things. I don't like this. And after seeing 10 or 15 wrong carpets, our client gets sort of overwhelmed and they block, both mentally and visually. They cannot see anything. So the idea of us, let's in touch, and actually nowadays, thanks to the technology, using those sort of video chats, either through WhatsApp or FaceTime or Zoom, find the carpet of your dreams without leaving the comfort of your home. Let the room decide. Because we also have seen so many fights between the couples, like one liking it and the other one hating it. But they both forget that, okay, you have to take yourself out. And many times when we set the room up with one rug, we ask them to leave the room before we set it up. When they ask them to walk in, and we do the same practice 3 or 4 times, I still don't know how the carpet is going to look, because color and light affects our perception. Same carpet and same color in the same house, but the south exposure versus the north exposure will look totally different.
Alan, that was truly incredible. I mean, you're just a wealth of knowledge on carpets, and I think this is a topic that we really need to deep dive into more because there's obviously so much that this can impact how you design a whole house, and there's so many little details about the color, to the texture, to the materials. All of these things I think are super valuable for people to know. So I think we're going to do an ongoing series about this. So if you guys have any questions for Alan and how to design for your home, leave it in the comments below. But if anyone wants to get in contact with you, what's the best way for them to reach out?
Ask Alan at wstudio.ca. I have my own email that I get a lot, but this particular one, we specifically created this email for people who are interested and they want to get in touch with me quickly.
Right.
So all they have to do is send us an email, send me an email with the pictures of the room, their wish list, measurements of the space, and a little bit of their lifestyle, if they have children, if they have dogs.
Okay,
you know?
yeah. All the things that might affect the carpet, yeah.
Actually, we had one inquiry that not too long ago, they said like, she's looking for a carpet that has to be cat proof.
Okay.
So anything that it is there,
Right.
bring it to me and I'll see what I can do.
Yes.
You know?
Awesome. Sounds good. And yeah, if you guys want to come and check out the showroom and check out these really amazing pieces of art, I'll leave the address right here. It's a fantastic place to come. Alan's here. He's, as I said, a wealth of knowledge. But yeah, we'll see you guys on the next one, and leave any questions that you have in the comments below.